as a Christian counselor, what are your first thoughts when you hear about what's going on with Naghmeh and Saeed?
I think my first thoughts are just sadness and grief that this is just a very bad situation overall. I mean, we're seeing someone coming back from a traumatic experience where he was in prison for his faith, and his wife has been, the whole family has been subjected to just this traumatic 3.5 years. And now this comes out, and I think it's got the possibility of polarizing churches and congregations, and makes it difficult for people to just sort of step back and take a breath and say, what has actually happened here?
Mm-hmm. And what do you think we can do as the body of Christ to support the Abedini family during this difficult time?
Well, I think, there's a difference between sort of stepping back and giving them some room and respecting how difficult this is for them. There's a difference between that and then just sort of abandoning them in the midst of this, or thinking that we don't have a role to play. But I think our role is one of supportive compassion for both of them, and allowing those people that have the close relationships with them, who are speaking into their lives, who've been helping them, mentoring them, working toward reconciliation, to let them work with them without a lot of judgment coming from us as a group.
Mm-hmm. And do you think there is a road to recovery for Naghmeh and Saeed?
I do. I'm always hopeful. I think that's one thing that we, as Christians, that we definitely have that we can't say is always true of those outside the church. God is able to deliver and to break captivity and bondage and heal and restore. He's able to do that. That doesn't mean it's easy, and it doesn't mean it's quick, and it doesn't mean that it's not messy.
Mm-hmm. And do you think God can use this horrible situation and kind of this sort of public, it's a very personal issue that's been publicized for Naghmeh and Saeed, and since they are such a face of kind of the persecuted church globally, do you think he can use them in this terrible situation for good?
I do. I mean, that's the promise of Romans 8, that he will turn all these things into the good for those who love him and are called according to his purpose. So we have that as a promise. But then we can also actually look and see what happens within the church. The rates of sexual addiction, abuse, domestic violence, all of the kinds of things that we worry about outside of the culture as a whole. From what I can tell and what I've seen in the research and the statistics, there's not a whole lot of difference in or out of the church. So what does that mean? It means as part of the church, we have to look around and recognize that there are probably many, many people struggling in these areas who have not come out of the shadows, who are not speaking up about that, who feel so much shame and hurt and are so fearful of judgment or punishment that they don't seek help. So if anything, to look and see, these are people that we respect, that we have prayed for, and that we have seen God move in their lives by having him be released. To think that all of a sudden now that God's abandoned them, or that there's less of a mission on their, his hand on their life, would I think be a mistake. And it would cause us to not think about God in terms of who he really is. Mm-hmm.
Well, that is wonderful. And is there anything else you'd like to add?
I think, we say we'll pray, but we really do need to pray. We need to pray for them. We need to pray for reconciliation among the different family members. And then I also think that we need to pray for the church as a whole, and we need to pray for our own hearts, that we would be open to God sort of examining and correcting and revealing things in us, so that maybe some of us who are struggling in some of these areas would feel the courage to come forward and seek help, so that there could be real healing and reconciliation in the body of Christ.
Mm-hmm. That is so wonderful. Well, Dr. Buckingham, thank you so much for your time.